Hello, these are my hands. Hopefully you can hear my voice. And in front of me is the Chase Bliss Onward pedal that I received as part of their recent mystery box promotion. Took the internet by storm a couple months ago. Actually, at the time of this video, there are still people waiting on their mystery box. So maybe you're hoping you get an Onward, or maybe you just got one and you're looking to kind of do some weird things with it. This might be the video for you. It's kind of a silly idea, but I thought I would try to see how weird we can get with just one strum into the Onward and then let it take over from there. As usual, the disclaimer right off the top, I just do this for fun. I'm goofing around with gear I like. I bought this Onward myself by way of a mystery box. There was a video where I unboxed it and tried to use it with a deluge for the first time. So I'm no better at this stuff than you are, stumbling my way through, having fun with gear. Chase Bliss did not ask me to do this. They don't know I'm doing this. They might not want me to do this. Who knows? Anyway, just doing this for fun, having a good time with some gear that I like. In the month I've had the Onward, I've grown to really like it a lot, and I'm using it heavily in some recordings. In fact, by doing this video, I'm really just procrastinating instead of finishing recordings I'm supposed to be doing for the RPM challenge this month. I don't think I'll complete a full album or even an EP, but I have been working on a lot of new music, and the Onward has been a big part of that. Maybe in a month or so, when all that is wrapped up, I might do another video showcasing some interesting ways I've been using it on non-guitar material, but I wanted to wait until the music was finished so I can use it as examples and point to it for reference. For this video, though, I'm really just trying to redeem myself from not having known how to use it when I did the unboxing video, and I thought it could be fun to show some really interesting things you can do even just after one strum by tweaking the Onward settings to get the most out of it. So let's get started. To begin, we've got the controls of the Onward set kind of barely on or minimally effective to set a baseline. For example, the dip switches on the control side are all off, but we are going to use those. They'll be very handy for what we're trying to do here. And these other dip switches are set just kind of the way I always leave them. Mono in, stereo out is on, and I've got a TRS to splitter cable to going into the interface there. Spread is on, so you'll get some more stereo width. Latch has been on since I took it out of the box. Sidechain and duck are on, but we won't really get to those in this example. Reverse is off. Half speed is on, so we get more sample time at lower fidelity. And then manual is off because I want just to be able to let the Onward choose the samples instead of having to manually record on and off. We can zero out all our hidden parameters just in case I've forgotten to do that. So to set it all back to zero, you toggle this middle toggle switch 3 times to the left. And then you'll see these lights blinking. Now press both foot switches. They go green. You've locked that in. So now everything should be zeroed out, kind of starting point only. And we'll get to the hidden parameters as well and how they'll help us in this challenge. So let's start. We got one strum, like I said. First of all, I'm not affiliated with any spicy one bite challenge chips or one bite pizza review guys. This is just a dumb idea I had for fun. So let's do one strum of a D chord on this parts caster that I've got in my lap here. Okay, so you heard a bit of a pad and some glitchiness, but it faded out really quickly. So let's correct that first. So to do that, we're going to amp up the sustain, and then we're going to change the fade to a quick fade because we want it to grab the note right away. And this means it's going to sustain until we play something else or turn it off. So here's an example. Okay, so now I can talk over this. Basically, it's a simple pad with a bit of glitchiness, and it sounds fine. It'd be great to play over or to do as a chord progression, but in this self-imposed challenge, we only have one strum, so I want something a little weirder. So let's turn that off, and let's get something going a little differently. So first of all, we're going to amp up the size. So the size is now the most possible, so it'll grab the longest sample it can. I'll give a sample of what that sounds like. Sample, sample, sample. You can hear that strum repeating. But again, it's just a pleasant pad with a bit of a glitchy strum, so we're not really getting a lot out of this. So let's see. Let's mess with some of the parameters then. So dial the mix down a little bit. So we've got texture. So what we can do with texture is bring in some grit on this side, or a bit of like bit crushing or like digital artifacts on that side. So let's go to the grit a little bit. We've got octave. We can bring in either a low or a high octave on this side. Let's do a bit of a low. And then we've got this animate toggle here, and that's going to give us a bit of a chorus effect on this side or a vibrato on the left there. Let's start with the chorus. Okay, so already it's much more interesting, a bit more movement, a bit more lively than it was a second ago anyway. But that's not quite enough. Let's kick things up a notch by bringing in the error control. So we'll dial it up halfway. And right now we've got the condition error, which is the middle position of that toggle. So I'm going to strum as usual. Bring up our mix a bit again. And you can hear a bit of like dropping in and out, some kind of stuttering, like it's just almost like degrading or fading in and out. So that's the condition error. So you can hear already, hopefully, the potential that these errors will have. So let's go to the left here. That's our timing error. So now the error introduces more of like a glitchy timing. Goes from staccato to a bit longer or whatever. But you can hear like we're getting some different opportunities happening. And if we go all the way to the right, it's the playback error. And that's going to adjust our playback speed. So you go from high to low. And already you can kind of hear there's some stuff happening. But I think the real magic comes with a hidden parameter, which is engaging all three errors at once. So if I press both foot switches till they're green, now we're in hidden menu territory. And if I scroll the error knob, I'm increasing the probability of other errors than the one we've selected via the toggle switch. So now our errors are still halfway up, but our probability of being any error is 100%. So any one of these three are active now. So now you can hear sometimes it's got a bit of a playback glitch, sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's a dropout. So you get a lot of random generative kind of probability stuff happening here just by engaging the error, which is great. Now I could also lock in these by hitting each foot switch until they're green. So now it doesn't matter if I play over it. I'm not going to accidentally disengage our sample there. Again, we can still take this further. So, for example, let's say we want to engage some more hidden features. So, let's say I want the errors to only affect the glitch side and not the freeze side. I can do that by pressing both foot switches again and toggling all the way to the left there with the error toggle. Now, you hear the pad is uninterrupted, but the glitch has errors. But now the balance is a bit off. So let's toggle both or hold both the foot switches and scroll our mix knob, which now becomes balanced between the two. So now we're balancing toward the glitch a little more. And we can go even further with our texture knob and that filter EQ we've got. We can dial out some lows or dial out some highs. So hold the two foot switches. Now texture becomes like a filter EQ. See, we can dial this down to more of a low pass filter or kind of a high pass filter. Let's dial out some highs, but then have this only apply to the frozen side by toggling this all the way to the left. So now you hear our pad has gotten a bit lower, almost receding, but our glitch has all the errors and all the treble. And again, we can adjust the balance, fully glitch side or fully frozen side, but let's put it a bit toward the glitch side. Okay, so now we've got some interesting stuff happening, but still, we can do more. It's time to play with our dip switches, which is a funny thing to say out loud now that I've said it, but we're going to engage the bounce switch in particular and sweep, which is basically going to act as though the knobs, certain knobs that we select are being turned as we're playing, but we're not going to be turning them. The Onward will be doing that for us. So to exemplify that, I'm going to turn bounce on with our sweep set to bottom to top, which I'll get to, and we'll use size as an example to start with. So right now, bottom to top means the knob placement dictates the bottom value of the sweep. So if I have it set here, bottom to top means it's going to sweep from here to the end. And if I had it set top to bottom, it would go from here to the beginning. But we want bottom to top for these examples. So in fact, I want the whole knob sweep in play here for size. So I want it to be able to sweep from smallest to largest and back. So it's going to do like this. It's going to be like someone's turning that knob for us. And then the mix knob now changes to engage how quickly that ramps or not, which we can show as well in a second. So let's start with just a glitch with our famous D chord. And I'll turn the errors off actually for this, so we really just hear what the bottom to top ramping is doing. So you hear some really short staccato ones, and then you hear long gaps and a bit longer samples. And if I turn the mix knob now, it's going to act as a ramp control. So now we're at the top of the sweep, and it's slowly going to work its way back to faster, faster, faster. You can hear it speeding up. This is the slowest it will ramp. So there, it's almost at the end, and then it's going to start back to longer again. There, it's getting slightly longer, and we can speed that up. Let's leave it in the middle. So now it's going to kind of go like this. So where this gets interesting with size, actually, is the size knob can do some other things. It can affect some other parameters, specifically the vibrato in this Animate toggle. So I'm going to switch that. Let's do another strum and engage our freeze. Let's bring up some treble, bring the freeze back in a bit more prominently. And now I'm going to switch. Actually, I'll turn off the glitch side, and I'm going to switch the Animate to vibrato. You hear that warble? That's increasing and decreasing in speed. That's because the size knob is being ramped, and it controls the speed of the vibrato. So already we're into some interesting kind of seasick territory, which is kind of fun, right? So now let's engage some other bounce options here. So we've got certainly error is a good one. Sustain we're going to leave off because turning the sustain all the way down will kill our sample, and that kind of defeats the purpose of our one strum challenge that we've imposed on ourselves. Texture and octave are good to have on for this. So basically everything but sustain. Let's give ourselves a strum here. And now you can hear, you'll hear the texture bottom to top, I said, right? So this is the bottom of the value, and it's going to scroll all the way to the top and then back here. Same with octave. Octave's going to go about the same into the high and back to low territory. And error all the way off to all the way on, just like our size knob. Now let's use our mix knob here to increase the ramp. So if we go smallest, you hear the octaves and glitchiness kind of, it's turning really fast. We don't want that. Let's do it as slow as possible. Now in this mode with ramp taking over the mix position, you can still have mix engaged by pressing the left toggle and using this as a mix. So now I've turned the wet signal all the way off. But in this case, we can turn it up. But now, like I said, with bounce on, it's a ramp control. So let's put it all the way up. Now, this is basically our final form. So we're kind of at where I was trying to get to this whole time, our one strum challenge, which has actually involved a million strums along the way. But let's turn this on, each side. Now our freeze side has the highs rolled off and is a vibrato setting that's being affected by the size knob ramping. The texture is ramping from more digital degradation to more of a grit. The octave is ramping from slightly low to all the way high and back. And then we've got our ramp is set to the slowest possible, so these knob turns are really slow. On the glitch side, we've got error probability is 100%, so it's all errors are in play here, all three different types of errors. The error knob starts from 0 and is ramping all the way up to 100% as well, so we'll get some real glitchiness happening at the end of that pot sweep. And then our size is going from 0 to full as well, so our sample size will get bigger and it's going to affect our vibrato. So let's hear how that sounds. This should be our final strum. So you can hear the ramping. Some characters changing. Let's actually dial the balance back a bit toward glitch, because I feel like the freeze pad is taking a bit of focus. There you've got some stereo glitchiness happening because of the spread and MISO settings. Those size controls and the error glitching coming in and out. That vibrato pad is really nice. The texture is changing. So this could go on and never really repeat itself now. One strum, we could lock this in actually, so I don't accidentally end this challenge early. So now I can strum away and nothing would happen, or accidentally hit the strings and nothing will happen. But as you can hear, things are ramping up. There's like an ecosystem developing in this thing. And I could walk away now, go make a coffee, come back. I've actually done that where I've forgotten I've left the Onward on and I've just zoned out while doing something else. And it's taken on a life of its own and I've never gotten bored listening to it. It's basically an ambient soundtrack in a pedal. And like I said, this is one strum. The self-imposed one strum challenge has led us here through creative uses of the hidden features and the bounce ramping, which is something that took me a little bit of reading to get the hang of. So hopefully my explanation or demo of this is helpful to you, because I had to do a lot of reading on their secondary manuals and stuff to figure out how that worked. In any case, we're kind of done now. I mean, hopefully you got something out of this. I've been having fun. I'm procrastinating from stuff I'm supposed to be doing, so this is gravy for me. And I'm just going to leave this on and let this play. You can sit and listen to it for a while if you want, or, go about your day. But hopefully you got something out of this, and maybe you have other tips or other pedals you like to use in this sort of context. Maybe, I missed a trick, or there's something you'd like to suggest. Hopefully you get something out of this and you're not just angry I'm not doing more Deluge videos, but those are still to come, don't worry. In any case, I'm rambling again, so I'm going to let the pedal speak for itself for a bit and go have a sip of some tea.